Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back out to the channel. Today we have another fun one with our Bodyguard 2.0. We're going to be kind of doing a whole comprehensive test about whether or not jacketed hollow points, round nose FMJ, or flat top FMJ / hard cast is the best round for self-defense with our Bodyguard 2.0. Should be a fun time. Let's get to shooting. Okay, well, let's get going today. Today we've got a great test for us. We're going to be taking a look at a few different rounds. And it's kind of funny because I'm shooting this after I already shot all the testing that I'm done. So I have some knowledge about what's going to happen today. So what I started out testing today was a 100 grain Underwood against a 100 grain buffalo bore that's a plus P versus a Sauer FMJ. And these rounds do have a flat top. They're not totally flat like a wad cutter, but the top is cut off. You can see there's a round nose jacket, FMJ full metal jacket, and you can compare that against the Sauer full metal jacket. And you see this is flat and this is round. And the theory is that that flat provides a little bit more of crushing of tissue as it enters whatever your intended target is and does more damage, versus that round nose just kind of slides through the tissue and pushes it out of its way, as opposed to doing a more cutting. And so we're going to see, does that make a difference? Then as I was going along, I was like, wait a second, I should also throw in a more traditional hollow point just so that you can see the difference in all of this. So yeah, so in the end, we tested 5 rounds. The gel is a complete mess by the end of it, but I think there's still some good things and some interesting things and things that I didn't expect and take it away. So again, we're looking at this Federal HST, which is a different round than I've tested before. It's 99 grains. We're going to go up against the 100 grain Sig Sauer flat top FMJ versus a 90 grain PMC, again against this plus P version of a buffalo bore hard cast against a 100 grain Underwood hard cast. Should be a good thing. We do have our new and improved meat target, which I borrowed from Gun Sam. I didn't actually borrow it. I didn't even ask him permission, but I'm copying. I'm putting some medium density fiberboard at 2 layers of gel into it, and then out front we have some clothing barriers. I appreciate Dan the Wolfman for giving me some of the ideas for how to set up this testing contraption. But I think I'm pretty excited about how this is going to go today. There's some pretty interesting results. I think everybody should stay tuned, and let's get to shooting. Our testing today, we have the 100 grain Sig, the 100 grain Underwood, and the plus P 100 grain buffalo bore. The last two are hard cast bullets. The first one is a traditional FMJ, but you look at them, they all are shaped very similar. We will see how this does with just gel, and then we will see how this does with other things like MDF and clothing barriers and other things like that. But let's try to get a couple of shots in here right now. Okay, I think we got one. That was a Sig 856. That was the Underwood 912. This will be the little bit spicier plus P buffalo bore. Let's see, I think we may have didn't quite feed right or something. And we have a malfunction. It's fed in there, but that's a little bit of a dangerous situation because it's fed, but the trigger is not cocked and it's not going. We'll try one more time. And the gun is locked up. Not a good deal. All right, let's pause and see what's going on. As you can see, gun is here. There is something in the chamber. Okay, well, we're able to rack the slide now. Again, not sure exactly what happened. I have heard that on these Bodyguards, there is a problem with the recoil spring. The gun is empty. Nothing's in it, no magazine in it. There's a problem with the recoil spring or with the guide rod getting stuck. I think that that's what's happening with this. Not a good sign particularly. But let's try that buffalo bore one more time. Looks to be loaded. Yeah, definitely a little bit spicier. Okay, and 1345, so definitely a bit spicier. Didn't get side lock back. I probably hit it. I was holding it at a weird angle. Okay, let's take a look and see what is going on around here. We'll have to try and get a couple of different angles. It looks like the one I have, these two are on top of each other. But what we see from those, and it's no big surprise, is that they're getting pretty far out there. So the SIG, not actually that bad. Take a look. We're getting, if I stretch this out properly, we're getting, I know the camera angles are weird, so we're getting 23, 24 inches of penetration with that SIG. So that's not a bad one. It's probably a little bit too much penetration, but not too bad. And you can definitely see that there's a little bit of disruption going on with those flat tips. And so that's why oftentimes people say, I'm just going to take a flat tip FMJ when I have 380 ACP and not worry about hollow point expansion because the hollow points don't expand. So what I want to do is get something with a flat tip FMJ to make sure I get deep enough penetration. But you use that 100 grain hard cast and you're going past 32 inches of gel. We'll put up some other barriers to see, but it might be interesting for comparison. I may throw in a typical FM or hollow point round just to show the comparison for this video. But let's make everybody seasick by moving the camera extra shakily. So in other words, going into my hands. All right. Okay, so there's those 3 rounds. So this round here, there is something that you can't see from that other angle because it's right behind it. So this one here, I believe is the buffalo board that, was smoking 1,400 feet per second with a 100 grain projectile. That's going that's decent round no matter what you call it, no matter what cartridge you're using. This was our buffalo board hard cast, and underneath here down at the bottom is that SIG round. And we can see the SIG round is there. And again, causes okay disruption in the tissue, but let's throw in a typical hollow point in just for comparison before we get up the other stuff and see what it looks like. This gel's going to be a mess before long. Okay, well now we have a Federal HST. You may think, Trigger Bar, how many times are you going to test that freaking round? Well, this is a different round. Trigger Bar has not tested this one. I have typically gone with the Federal Hydra Shock Deep, but this is the Federal HST, which is the popular round for 9mm 40, 357 SIG, so on and so forth. It's different design. It's a more traditional jacketed hollow point, bonded hollow point design. We'll see how it does in clear gel relative to these other rounds. Okay, just go down and take a look. Just taking a quick look, you can see how much more expansion, how much bigger the wound track is out of that HST bullet. But here's the challenge with it, is it only got to about 10 inches, which may be fine for some of you. Some of you want more to 16 inches, but it's down. It may not look it with the parallax in the camera, but it is sitting, when I line up myself perfectly, it's sitting at 10¼ inches. Again, I will do this because someone in the comments will tell me I'm not doing it right. Maybe 10½. Okay. All right. So let's take a closer look. Very nice expansion. Very traditional hollow point. Very good. reason I like the HSD, the Hydroshock Deep, is it will typically get out to 15, 16 inches, not as much expansion as the HST. But look at the wound track comparison. You're getting these with those flat tip, and you're getting this with a hollow point. We kind of want both, right? We want the penetration of something deeper, but not as much. But there is disruption. This is not like an FMJ bullet. And in fact, I meant to do that. We're going to now shoot an FMJ. Okay, now we have a 99 grain PMC bronze, traditional FMJ, round nose. We'll see how it does in comparison and looks in the gel compared to all these other rounds. Let's go down and take a look. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This is sort of an interesting result. I'm not seeing much difference between the wound track, a little bit smaller, little bit thinner, but not a ton more difference in the wound track. We came in down here. It follows all the way out to that 23-inch mark, 24-inch mark, probably 23 here. We set it 23.5, and it's about a ½ inch behind it. I know some of you will want for different purposes than I intend to look exactly what that is. That is at 23.5 inches, 24 inches. The other one's almost 24.5 inches. Yeah, so 24 inches on that. But normally, and you see with both of them, they just don't give much damage past here. There's a little bit. We'll take a look. I think that the disruption is just a bit less. You can see this is the wound track I'm talking about. This one here we're following. It's just a straight line. Not much versus these are the ones with the flat nose. And this is the one with the round nose. So just not a lot of disruption. Compare that with the hollow point. That's why you want the hollow point. All right, just a reminder for everyone what our new quote-unquote real-world simulation testing is. We have 4 layers of clothing. We have 2 layers of denim followed by 2 layers of t-shirt. And then we have 2 inches of gel. Then we have 16 inches of gel and then another 16 inches of gel. We're going to try firing all those rounds in again. It's going to get super messy, but we'll see what we'll be able to tell because it'll have the clothing in it, which track is which. But yeah, let's go back and take a look and see if this simulation of bone makes any difference at all. And if the t-shirt clogs up our HST bullet that we tried, and see if it makes any difference for some of these other rounds. Okay, well, we are going to do this in reverse order. What I have up first is that Federal HST round. We'll go for that. Then next up, we have the PMC bronze FMJ round. And then next up, we have the Sig Sauer flat nose. And then next up, we have the Hard Cast from Underwood. And then next up and last up, we have the Buffalo Bore. And we got lock back and all of those cycled, so that's good. And we didn't catch any on the lab radar. Okay, well, let's just take a look here. We have our gel pulled apart. We got some pretty decent expansion with the jacketed hollow point when it first comes out. And then the rest of them don't expand, so that's what you'd expect. They're all similar size holes, right? It's going to be hard for everyone to see in this gel. Let's get our contraption out of the way. Let's try and take a look and see what the heck is going on with this stuff. So we saw here that our Federal HST did an actually not bad job. Very nice wound track and stops at about the 12 inches. It didn't fully expand. It got clogged with some stuff, but it did some expansion, and it did more disruption than I believe any of the other ones. That got, again, I'm counting from 2 inches above out in front. This is where the board used to be, and it got out here to 12.5 inches. That Federal HST looks to be a great round as well. Maybe even contention against that against the HSD, because I think it did a little bit better in this. Interesting. Okay, well, and then we have lots more rounds that are coming through, and let's take a look. We got one right in here, right at exactly what would be now the 18-inch mark. That looks to be our SIG round. It's a flat tip. Looks to be the copper jacketed hollow point. And then I'm guessing our FMJ round is right here out at about 22 inches. That's not over expansion. You put in another layer of MDF and clothing, and that probably doesn't leave the body, so that's not over expansion in the FMJ. And then down there, I'm guessing that's our Underwood round. That got out to about 28, 29 inches. And these two are from the previous test. And again, our other rounds smoked through the gel block. So we've got 2 pass-throughs coming out of the gel block from that spicy buffalo bore. So if you want to make sure you go through all the layers, that buffalo bore will do it. So just interesting comparisons. So I would have to say I'm going to change up my mind based on data. Right, not my preconceived notions, is that the FMJ getting out to 22 inches is just fine. The flat tip round from SIG actually is a good performer. It just doesn't get much expansion, just doesn't do much. You'd want one of a semi-wad cutter, right? You want more of a flat tip to do more damage. None of these are doing enough damage in the gel. This is that HST round that we see we got partial expansion. But that's pretty nice, actually, what it did there. Even if these 2 petals didn't open up, it was opening up enough to behave worse than a flat tip. Again, you'd want a wad cutter which extends this flat all the way to the top. And actually, sometimes they even they load the bullets backwards on those wad cutters. So something interesting to look at. So this is the 2. This is with the gel. This is with the MDF and clothing, denim and t-shirt layers. So you see fantastic expansion without it, and a little bit more difficult to expand, but I would still think that's pretty good. Okay, we're going to test a few rounds of this Federal HST. We're going to do some accuracy and some chronographing. Hopefully, we're a little bit further distance, so don't everyone freak out about how terrible I'm shooting with this ultra small gun. We're now at 10 yards. What do I mean by that? Everyone's going to say 10 yards isn't very far. I do most of my 380 ammunition test series at a much more practical accuracy of 5 yards, because that's what I feel like a pocket pistol is going to be best at. But I have to scoop back because this chronograph can't be too close to the end of the berm where I'm shooting into. All right, so that was 956. 963. 938. 932. 928. So for 10 yards, that's not bad. And for our session summary, we had a min of 928, an average of 943, and a max of 963, extreme spread of 35, and our average kinetic energy was just under 200 energy foot-pounds at 195. So not bad. So next up, we have the SIG 100 grain flat nose. We'll see how we do at 10 yards with this. 842. 846, 843, 826, kind of weak sauce, and 853. We had an average of 942, a min of 826, a max of 853. So decently loaded ammunition for an average kinetic energy of 157. It's kind of light loaded and showing why it didn't get tons of penetration. And this is what we got for our group. Not bad. I was aiming here. You know, that's me. Okay, next up we have this 100 grain hard cast from Underwood. It's a flat tip. Let's see how it does. 892, 882, 898, 931. And we got that same thing again. It jumped up and round, and we're getting caught on something. This is something we're going to have to discuss at the end of the video. Off camera, I got it unstuck. Let's keep shooting. One last round. And 880. So don't really know what's going on. Don't really like that. Session summary on that Underwood is 880 has a min, an average of 897, a max of 931, an extreme spread of 51, and our average kinetic energy of 178. One thing to think about is that both times I've had that, it was right after I shot the Underwood ammo, or the Underwood ammo caused something in the gun to go bad. So that it must not just like that hard cast. I have heard again there's something going on with this spring or the guide rod. So if anyone in the comments knows about the issue, the Springfield or the Smith & Wesson, I'll probably do some research on my own, but please put it in the comments below. Buffalo Bore plus P ammo. Just kind of smoked through the gel in all those different situations. We'll see how we do on target with this. And I only have 4 shots because this, well, that's a bit different than the other one. That was 1072. The other one was 1394. $10.53, $10.76, $10.58, and that's our 4 shots. So quick look at the session summary. Yeah, nowhere near that 1300 with these rounds. I don't know if I was too close or that reading was off or the round was off or what was going on with that, but the average was 1065 and average kinetic energy is 252. So it's good smoking round, but that was pretty hot. Let's go down and see what we got for our quote-unquote accuracy. Okay, let's take a look and see what we got for our accuracy. I'm pretty sure with this flyer, I was not really paying attention. I forgot that I was doing accuracy and I was just watching the chronograph, and then I got back on target. So these are definitely hitting above. I was aiming here, again on the target up here. For the other ones, aiming here, aiming here, aiming here, and you can just see how it kind of moves around with the different ammunition loads. Okay, so up and to the left is the 5 rounds that we shot with the Underwood Hard Cast. I just have a second thought on this SIG round. It's a little bit underloaded. I'm kind of aiming the same way. I think they're just hitting in different spots. So this one tended to be a little bit high. I don't think I really changed my point of aim, point of impact. Said this was me, but it could just be the ammo. Again, another reason to sight in which ammo you use. And see what we're getting for velocity and do a little bit of accuracy. 854, 905, 848, 864, 881, 873, 856, 859, 880, and 866. I shot a lot more. I meant to say that before I got started, but I was getting a little freaked out by the gun having those hiccups and those hard failures. I'm feeling a little bit better. We ran the traditional FMJ, ran just fine. Group was okay. We'll go down and check on that in just a second. But it's definitely disconcerting to see your pistol lock up like it did. So that Underwood Hard Cast is a no-go for me. Others guns may run it fine. It could be that guide rod issue, but it's the more I think about it, it happened both times shooting the Underwood ammo. So yeah, that's a no-go for me. All right, so for our session summary, we had a min of 848, a max of 905, an extreme spread of 57, and our average kinetic energy was 151. So not bad. Let's go down and see what we got for accuracy. Okay, there's our 10 shots. You know, a decent group right in here. I felt like there were definitely pulls that I just was like, I didn't really pull it when I was on there. Okay, well, let's wrap things up. So, wow, there's a lot to take in with all of that. So, I came out today with some expectations, and I don't think what I saw today met my expectations. I was expecting that these FMJs with a flat tip would perform ballistically in the gel and look like they were doing a little bit better and more damage. To me, to my eye, in this simulation of a simulation of a simulation, meaning clear ballistics is a simulation of organic gel is a simulation of real tissue, mostly hogs and goats. Those are simulations of cadavers, on and on and on. So based on all of that, what I'm seeing, I wasn't really happy with the results. We saw some over-penetration, but not a lot of over-penetration. I really think you can carry, if your 380 ACP handgun runs FMJs and FMJs only, carry some of these SIG or other types of rounds that have that flat nose. I would not recommend this buffalo bore at this point, or sorry, Underwood at this point. They had great terminal performance. They went to about 16 inches and stopped. When you go through the gel, when you go through the MDF and the clothing, they did just fine in terms of getting deep enough penetration, but not over penetration. And that's one of the concerns. I think I have a new favorite round, to be honest, though. I think I stumbled upon today. I was kind of a downer on the HST, but I think that HST might be one of the best rounds we have tested. I wish it had more opening, but not a lot of the rounds we've tested with the clothing and with the MDF get a lot of great opening in the 380 ACP. They do tend to get clogged up. But again, I'm saying that's okay because they don't over penetrate. One of the challenges, like with 9mm or 40 Smith & Wesson or 10mm, is if you get your bullet clogged up with clothing, you may get over penetration, right? And so that's a challenge with it. With this type of round, in worst case, people are saying use flat nose and it's still getting better expansion and doing more damage in the gel. So for me, I think that Federal HST was a winner. It got out to over 10 inches with the barriers in it, with the MDF. I think that's great. That's totally fine. So I think that's a good winner. I think it was interesting to see that I thought those flat tips would do better than the round nose. I didn't think they did that much better. I couldn't tell that much of a difference in the gel. So given all of these things today, I'm going to still keep on my track with a jacketed hollow point. I'm probably not going to go FMJ, though I think, you know, there are some of you out there like, oh, I want a hollow point, and then I want an FMJ, and then I want a hard cast, and then I'm not that kind of person usually, although some of you are wearing me down. You could do that and throw in some of these that get just a little bit deeper penetration. That buffalo blower smoked through everything. And the one where we got 1300 down to 1000, that's a big spread, extreme spread. That makes me question those loadings just a little bit. I think that with that buffalo bore, I am a little worried with those variations that we are seeing and what impact that would have on the longevity of your handgun. But there are some people that will swear by it, and I'm not going to knock it. Hopefully that test, you can just take this data, ignore the commentary, and use what you want with it. That's one of the reasons why I do the test. You can look at the test, you can look at the data, and you can mute me if you want. So yeah, so I think good results today. I'm pretty excited with what I saw and some of this information and data. Hopefully it's useful for you in making the decision that you're going to have to make with your handgun. And I hope this new information about the Bodyguard 2.0 is useful. If you have any information on that, on the slide getting locked up and caught up, I had to bang it on the table, and that's a little freaking me out when I have a live round in the chamber. So did it at a safe range, pointed in a safe direction, not at my feet, you know, making sure it's angled down range, all of those things, did it off camera. But I just want to know what you guys think, if you've heard of this issue and if you know of any remedies for it. So please put it in the comments below. Hey, I hope everyone has a great week, and let's get to shooting.